Hello dear students. In this class, let us learn about the working of a digital frequency meter. So as its name suggests, this device is used to measure the frequency of the input signal in a digital format. So the basic principle that we use in a digital frequency meter is the working principle of an AND gate. So in an AND gate, we know if you are supplying one input to one of the inputs, and if you are supplying the signal A here, the output will be 1 into A. So A itself will be the output provided that the other input is 1. And if the other input is 0, we can actually cut off the signal. If this is 0, A into 0 is 0. So here there will be no signal. So in a digital frequency meter, an AND gate can be used wisely. So we supply a signal of duration 1 second into one of the inputs here, and to the other input we are feeding in the signal continuously. So what will be the effect? So here we have the complete signal that is varying as per time. Plenty of pulses are coming in, but on the other end, on the other input side, we are providing a pulse of duration 1 second. So the output will be a pulse that is corresponding to this input signal that is just happening only for 1 second, right? Only for the duration when this input signal is 1, the signal will be able to pass through this AND gate. So even though there are plenty of on and off signals coming from the other input, for the duration of 1 second during which this input is 1, we will have output. So the output side we have pulses of 1 second duration, and we will feed in this to a frequency meter, a counter. This counter will count the number of pulses in this signal. So that will be the frequency. You know, frequency is the number of pulses in a 1 second duration. So feed this into a counter. Counter will count these pulses and give out the frequency measure in digital format. So this working principle of an AND gate can be used to build a digital frequency meter. So let us try to understand another block diagram. So the signal whose frequency is to be measured is passed through an amplifier and brought into a suitable range. After that, it is passed to a Schmitt trigger. The Schmitt trigger is to convert the signal, sinusoidal signal maybe, to corresponding square pulses. The frequency will not be changed, the frequency will remain the same, only that the sine wave signal, oscillating signal, will be converted to square wave signal. So you will study the working of Schmitt trigger. From there you can see it basically converts the signal into a square format. And after that we pass it through a gate. Maybe normally the gate that we use is an AND gate. So we will open the gate for a fixed duration so that the pulses can pass through the gate, and after that we will close the gate, and finally the number of pulses is counted. So for a fixed duration time period, probably for 1 second, we will allow the signals to pass, the pulses to pass, and the counter will count. So in this manner we will be able to measure the frequency in a digital format. We need to convert the oscillating sinusoidal signal to square wave because normally counters are able to detect ones and zeros. For that, the sine wave signal has to be converted to corresponding square wave or pulse format. Now let us also understand a detailed picture of this digital frequency meter. So here in this picture you can see the input signal is fed here. It is passed through an amplifier and passed through a Schmitt trigger so that you would get corresponding pulse signals that have the same frequency as the input signal. Number of pulses per second is just the same as the input signal, which is often sinusoidal. Now we also have a gate here, an AND gate here, which is actually open for a fixed duration of time. And after that, finally we have a decimal counter which will count the number of pulses reaching that unit. Now how do we open this particular gate for a fixed duration of time. So just like in the previous case we saw, here we feed in a 1 second duration pulse. That means this gate will be open for 1 second of time, and that many number of pulses can pass through. Sometimes the frequency of the signal will be so high that during 1 second itself there might be plenty of pulses, maybe 10 raised to 5 might be the frequency. So the counter would not be able to count up to that many number of digits. So in that cases we will have to open the gate for shorter duration of time, like maybe for 1 microsecond or for 1 millisecond and so on, so that only suitable number of pulses will pass through the gate and the counter is able to count. For that we have a range of input frequencies here. So to the gate we are providing different frequencies. There is also 1 second pulse, but if we want to measure higher frequencies, you will want to open this gate for very small duration of time. In that case, we have other selection of time periods for which the gate will be open. So how do we form that setup? That is actually displayed here. So this is the setup for giving in the gate opening signal and closing signal. So we have a fixed crystal oscillator here that is producing 1 megahertz frequency signal. It is passed through a Schmitt trigger that will convert this signal into square pulses, and then we are dividing the frequency by 10, and from each output we are taking the outputs. So we have different frequency signals here. 1 megahertz signal will give you 1 microsecond duration pulse, and divided by 10 you will get 10 microsecond time period pulse. You are dividing the frequency, that is why the time period is getting multiplied by 10. So what you will have is a range of time periods available at these ends. So whatever be the time period that you require, you turn the knob and put the selection base to the corresponding time period, and that will pass through the gate and will open this AND gate for the fixed duration. And during that time, this unknown signal will be able to pass through the gate and the counter will be able to count. So this particular setup here is to select the range of frequency that we need to measure and to adjust the counter to count only up to that time period. Finally, we will convert that to 1 second time base and we will determine the frequency. Even if the gate is open for 1 microsecond, we will multiply by suitable scaling factors so that we know about the exact frequency of the input signal. Now here we have a setup called gate flip-flop. This is actually a setup that helps to open and close the gate for a fixed duration of time. Now let us try to understand more about this gate flip-flop. So here we have a detailed diagram of that. This dotted square actually represents the gate control flip-flop. This actually controls the time duration for which the main gate is open and closed. So the unknown frequency is fed here, it is passed through Schmitt trigger and it is at the one of the inputs of the main gate. The other input is the input where we actually supply the fixed duration time signal. So it will open and close the gate so that this input signal unknown frequency can pass through. So here we have the control signal. Now let us try to understand how does this gate control flip-flop actually work. Within this we have two SR flip-flops. This is flip-flop 1 and this is flip-flop 2. We also have two AND gates. One is called a start gate, the other is called a stop gate. And for both of these gates, one of the input is the input from a input of pulses from a time-based selector. That means you will have continuous pulses that is being fed into both the start gate and the stop gate. So at one of the inputs, these gates have these pulses. And the other input is being controlled by this flip-flop 1. This flip-flop 1 is usually set in the set 1 state, in the set state. So I hope that you know about the working of SR flip-flop. In this explanation, I will mainly discuss three important parts. So if we have an SR flip-flop here, it has two input S and R. and two outputs y and y bar. Y bar is usually the not of y, the inverted figure of y. So at the S input and at the R input, you can give inputs like 0, 0. That will correspond to the condition of no change. No change implies that whatever was there present at y and y bar during the previous stage, that will be kept here. That will not change. So if you feed in one input at the S and 0 at the R, that is called set state. In that case, y will be 1 and y bar will be 0. And if you supply 0 to the S input and 1 to the R input, y will be 0 and y bar will be 1. That is called reset. So this is set. So S1 corresponds to set. And in that case y will be 1. Now with this understanding, let us try to understand the working of this SR flip-flop. Initially it is in the set state. That means that y will be 1 and y bar will be 0 initially. Under that condition, you can see that the start gate is closed because this input is 0 and the stop gate is open because its input is 1 initially. So the output of the stop gate will be able to pass through and reach the second flip-flop. So you notice that now stop gate is active and the second flip-flop, here we are feeding in 1. So we know when S is 1, y will be 1 and y bar will be 0. So the stop gate passing into this flip-flop 2 implies that the y bar is 0. That means the main gate will be closed at this point because y bar is being fed into the main gate. Now, when we want to count the number of pulses, what we actually do is that we give in a small read pulse here. So this read pulse implies we are feeding in a 1 input at the R and S is 0 because in the earlier case, we have seen that the start gate was disabled and 0 was coming in. So when we give in a read pulse, that will reset the flip-flop 1 so that y is 0 and y bar is 1 and the start gate is active now and the stop gate is closed now. The start gate will start to pass in 1 because it is getting a 1 input and the pulse coming through this B input will be able to pass through. So a 1 will reach this R. Effectively, since the stop gate is closed, a 0 will be coming through here. So now the flip-flop 2 is reset. So y will be 0 and y bar will be 1 and this 1 will go in and open this main gate. So when you give in a read pulse, the main gate will be opened through this mechanism. This 1 will give a 1 here. So it will give a 1 here in the start gate as the output. So this R is 1, y bar will be 1 and the main gate will be opened as the result. So the pulses will continuously pass through the main gate and we have the counter here that will count the number of pulses. And when would this stop? So to see that, let us try to understand this, what we have said already. So we have said that when read pulse is given, y bar will be 1 and as a result, when the pulse comes through the B input, start gate will give a 1 and it actually resets the flip-flop 2. Along with that, this one will also pass to the flip-flop 1 to the S input and when we give 1 to the S input, it actually sets the flip-flop 1 and y bar will be back to 0 and y will be back to 1. So as a result, again the start gate is disabled and the stop gate is enabled. So the moment this R is set and we have a 1 here, the start gate is disabled and the stop gate is enabled because of this mechanism. This one is fed back here. So when the next pulse comes, that pulse will pass through the stop gate and will reach the S, and Y bar will be set to 0 and the main gate will be closed. So the first pulse will pass through the start gate and the second pulse will pass through the stop gate. And exactly during the time period between these two pulses, this main gate will be open and the counter will be able to count. So we have this mechanism of 2 flip-flops and 2 gates that actually enable this main gate to be opened for exactly one duration between 2 pulses. And that is how the gate control flip-flop works, and it is able to open this main gate for a fixed duration of time. I hope the working of gate control flip-flop is clear for you, and that gate control flip-flop is used here to open and close this gate for a fixed duration of time so that the unknown signal can pass through this gate for a fixed duration. That will be measured as frequency. So I hope the working of digital frequency meter is clear for you. Go through the textbook and try to understand the various aspects of this working. I hope it is clear for you. Thank you.